Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a transitional life coach, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about what life coaching is. In a sentence, life coaching is really about helping people get from A to where they want to be. That's it. The thing that scared me off the most when I first got into using a coach was all of these online kind of people, right? These gurus that are telling you the 3 ways you got to do this, and this is what you got to do, and the 10 times your productivity. And I always get concerned about anything that feels like it's preachy or telling people what to do, because part of being a coach has nothing to do with giving people advice. It's really about helping them uncover the answers, the resources, and the options that they have within themselves. That being said, I think it's important to share my own story and some of the tools that I used, so that people know that they're out there, and maybe they can help use those tools to help them develop their own to be able to do the same things. So all that being said, here's a few of the tools that I use to help create positive change in my life. I use both a methodology and tools for my own personal use and keeping myself happy, healthy, moving in the direction that I want to head in. And the methodology is kind of like an instruction book, a 3-word instruction book that I use across the tools on how to use them. That methodology of change I use is called reflect, connect, and embrace. I continually reflect on where I was, where I've come from. I connect with who I am and who it is I want to be. And then I embrace that I'm exactly where I need to be today to take that next step forward in getting to where I want to be. Reflect, connect, and embrace. There's a great quote, and I don't know who the heck said it, although I read it recently, that intelligence, real intelligence, is a person's ability to adapt to change. And when we do that, when we learn to master change, and that is either accept and deal with the change that we've had thrust upon us in life, or to be able to initiate the change that we want to create, that's when we really start to master our lives. How we think, how we act, and how we feel. The 3 things that make up our personality. Who we are in totality is how we think, how we act, and how we feel. And I spent a lot of time in my life trying to change the way I felt, because I didn't always feel comfortable, I didn't always like it, and I never knew how to do that. And it wasn't until I understood that relationship between how I think, how I act, and how I feel, that in order to change the way I felt, I didn't need to use outside sources or habits, that I just needed to change the way I think and change the way I act, and that in doing that would change the way I feel. Changing the way I think was the biggest way, or the most important thing I did in being able to create real change in my life, just in the way that I was looking at things. So what is chunking down a goal? It's just a real simple technique to take something that's big and make it smaller and edible for you to be able to handle. So if your goal in life is to eat an apple, just as an example, you wouldn't think about that as trying to swallow an apple whole, because that's too much for you to be able to handle, right? It's going to keep you from even ever trying to do it, knowing that you can't. And that self-talk in your head will start with, I can't do that, it's too hard, it's too big, it won't fit, whatever. When we break that down and we consider that same goal of eating that apple, but we think about it doing it 1 bite at a time, 1 chunk at a time, now all of a sudden that goal seems reasonable, it seems realistic, it seems attainable. And as we take those individual bites, or we deal with those individual chunks, we start to build the confidence and momentum that carries us through to the next one, till eventually that apple's gone and goal's achieved. So kick your kryptonites and connect with your plutoniums. Everybody knows what kryptonite is, right? That thing that takes Superman's energy away, that steals his superpowers. Well, plutonium's a term I came up with, is just the opposite of that. It's things that give you power, that give you energy, that connect you with the world around you. For me, that was my son, Nico Blue, spending time with him. So I've combined blue with plutonium to make plutonium, which is where that term comes from. But really, it's just about identifying those in your life, knowing what are the kryptonites, the things that take away your energy, the energy vampires of your life, whether it be people, places, or things, and identifying the plutoniums, the things that bring out the best in you, that make you productive, that help you get things done. And the more you spend time connecting with your plutoniums and staying away from your kryptonites, the more productive you're going to be in achieving the goals you want to achieve and getting to the places you want to get. Practicing keeping your word to yourself. That was a huge thing for me, and I've found through a number of clients that this is usually an issue that exists for somebody if they're not accomplishing the things they want to be accomplishing in their life. That very first promise for me when I went through my change, big change in life, was about drinking a glass of water a day. I know it doesn't sound like a huge task. To me, that was my Mount Everest. For 20 years, I've been telling myself, I need to drink more water, I need to drink more water. I couldn't drink a single glass of water. Then I started making that commitment to myself. I'm gonna wake up, as soon as I get out of bed, the first thing I'm gonna do is pour a glass of water and chug it down. I started doing that. And the first one was absolute torture. Second one got a little bit better. By the third or fourth time, it started to become a bit of a habit, something positive that I could build on. And then I started realizing I could start keeping bigger promises to myself. And if you think about what your relationship would be with somebody else if they were continually breaking a promise to you. If every day your friend said to you, I'll meet you down by the coffee shop at 3 o'clock today, we'll have a coffee together. Awesome. And every day they didn't show. How many days would have to go by before you'd say, you know what? I don't believe them anymore. I don't think I want to try this anymore. I'm not going to show up there, and I don't want this person in my life even, right? You just lose that trust. And that same relationship is happening within ourselves. On a daily basis, we're making promises to ourselves, right? Most people that are out of shape or overweight or not of the physical health that they want to be in is usually because they're not keeping some kind of promise to themselves. They're not eating the way they promised themselves they would. They're not exercising the way they promised themselves they would. And my promise to you is that if you start small and start specifically doing tasks just for the practice of keeping your promise to yourself, that continues to grow exponentially on top of itself. I went from unable to drink a single glass of water a day to where I went 34 days in a row where I did 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. Something that didn't seem possible just because I was the type of person that didn't follow through on those types of things. But I was calling people when I said I was going to call them. I was showing up for places when I said I was going to show up. 4 days later, not without a text message, I'm on my way, letting them know, just making a promise and following through with it. And once that became a part of my personality and a part of who I was, all of a sudden, everything in my life started getting better. Once I started keeping promises to myself and starting to trust myself again, that when I say something, I'm going to do it. It's big. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for all of your time, for listening. It's very much appreciated, and to The Blend for inviting me to be here to talk a little bit about what life coaching is and how it can benefit people like yourselves. If it is something you're interested in hearing more about or being a part of, please feel free to put your name forward or someone you know or care about, and look forward to meeting who it is that we'll be dealing with in the future. Bye.